you have lost something. Perhaps it was a position you had worked years to earn. Perhaps it was a relationship you had quietly built your identity around. Perhaps it was simply a version of yourself, confident, certain, moving forward, that one morning failed to show up and has not returned since. And now you are standing in the aftermath, and something in you wants to make it significant, to hold a ceremony, to declare with appropriate solemnity that something has died here and that the world should pause to acknowledge it. That impulse is deeply human. But Seneca, writing from a life that handed him genuine catastrophe more than once, would have recognized it immediately, and he would have asked you, with characteristic directness, whether the ceremony is serving you or simply consuming you. This is the question at the heart of Stoic thought on failure and beginning again. Not whether loss is real, it is. Not whether pain is legitimate, it is. But whether the drama we build around loss is helping us carry it, or whether it has become the loss itself. The first teaching is this: distinguish between what happened and what you are telling yourself about what happened. Seneca was deeply interested in the stories we construct around events. The event itself, the dismissal, the ending, the collapse, occupies a fixed point in time. It is done. What continues, what grows, what shapes the weeks and months that follow, is not the event, but the narrative we attach to it. The Stoics called this the faculty of judgment, and they considered it the most powerful thing a person possesses, because it is the one thing that remains entirely under our authority. When we dramatize failure, we are not describing what happened. We are writing a story in which we are permanently diminished. That story is a choice, even when it does not feel like one. The first act of beginning again is not action. It is the quiet refusal to ratify that story. The second teaching concerns the ledger. Think of your life as a set of accounts. On one side, everything you have accumulated: skills, relationships, understanding, character. On the other, everything that has been subtracted: opportunities lost, things broken, time spent on what did not last. Life subtracts freely. It always has. Seneca understood this not as a philosophical abstraction, but as a lived reality. He lost years to exile, lost proximity to those he valued, lost the comfortable certainties that wealth and position provide. And yet what his letters reveal is a man who kept something through all of it: a quality of attention, a capacity for thought, a relationship with his own mind that no external event could reach. The Stoic insight is precise. The subtraction column is not the whole ledger. What character keeps, the habits of mind, the practiced virtues, the hard-won clarity, these are not subtracted when circumstances change. They travel with you. They are, in the deepest sense, the only things that were ever truly yours. When you begin again, you are not beginning from nothing. You are beginning from everything the ledger has kept. The third teaching is about the difference between mourning and dramatizing. The Stoics were not advocates of emotional suppression. Seneca himself wrote with evident feeling about loss, about the weight of grief, about the genuine ache of things ending. The Stoic position is not that you should feel nothing. It is that there is a natural arc to grief, and that wisdom lies in following that arc rather than extending it indefinitely through performance. Mourning is honest. It acknowledges that something real has ended, that it mattered, that its absence is felt. Dramatizing is something else. It is the repeated rehearsal of the loss, the insistence on its centrality, the construction of an identity around having been diminished. Mourning moves, dramatizing stays. The practical question Seneca would press you with is simple: how long has the ceremony been running? If the answer is longer than the loss itself seems to warrant, it is worth asking whether you are grieving the thing that ended, or whether you have begun to grieve as a way of avoiding the work of what comes next. The fourth teaching is about the relationship between shame and beginning. Failure, particularly public failure, carries shame. And shame is uniquely corrosive because it does not simply say that what you did was wrong. It says that what you are is wrong. It attacks not the action, but the actor. Seneca's philosophy offers a precise corrective here. The Stoics drew a firm line between what is within our control and what is not. Reputation, the judgments of others, the way a failure is perceived and discussed, these belong to the external world. They are not yours to command. What is yours is the quality of your response. What is yours is whether you extract understanding from what went wrong. What is yours is the decision, made quietly and without fanfare, to act well from this point forward. Shame that drives reflection is useful. Shame that drives paralysis is simply another form of the funeral, another ceremony that keeps you standing at the graveside rather than walking back towards the living. The Stoic does not ask to be absolved of failure. He asks only what can be learned from it, and then he moves. The fifth, teaching, is perhaps the most quietly radical. Beginning again is not a defeat. It is the natural condition of a life lived with any ambition at all. There is a tendency to treat starting over as evidence of something gone wrong, as though the people who never have to begin again are the ones who have understood something the rest of us have missed. But Seneca's life, and the lives of the Stoics more broadly, suggest the opposite. The capacity to begin again, without theatre, without self-pity, without the need to make the loss mean more than it does, is not a consolation prize. It is a form of strength that only becomes available to those who have actually lost something. The bare orchard after harvest is not a failure. It is the condition that makes the next season possible. The dry dock with its hull exposed is not a broken ship. It is a ship being made ready. What looks like an ending, examined with Stoic clarity, is almost always a preparation. This is what the ledger ultimately shows. Not that life has taken from you, though it has, but that what remains, the character, the understanding, the undefeated capacity to begin, is more than enough to work with. You do not need a funeral. You need a first morning. And the first morning does not require ceremony. It requires only that you rise, take honest stock of what the ledger holds, and begin. If this moved you, comment, "The Citadel holds below." It is our sign that you carry the philosophy with you. Subscribe and I will see you in the next one.